Hey guys, welcome to the High School Dish. Today I have my very good friend,
Ellie Roberge.
and I feel like it's been a while since I've done a podcast, but I took a little break because, school. And so today we're going to be talking about relationships, mainly with guys, but we could also dip into friendships because those are also very important relationships that go on within high school. So, since we were talking about relationships, I brought my friend Ellie. Although she hasn't you haven't really been in a relationship.
No, the last relationship I would consider would be Robbie.
In middle school.
Middle school, 7th grade. So, no, technically, I haven't been in a relationship in high school.
Yeah. Because I think both me and Ellie can agree that relationships with guys or girls or anything are hard to keep, are hard to work for. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with communication to keep relationships going, whether it's with guys or anything like that.
I personally think it's very time consuming. I think high school is so important. Some people are making new friends from middle school,
Yeah.
so they're worried about making friends. Um, and some people just don't have a focus on boys. They just want to get their grades up. They're focusing on what they're doing after high school, attending college. But yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, because I think when having relationships and stuff and starting being okay, maybe I should get a boyfriend or whatever, I don't think that is the mentality you should have, because I know when you're in middle school or something and you start getting into high school and it's oh, everybody's gonna start getting relationships, it's gonna be oh yeah, those high school sweethearts, everything like that. No,
That's it's not true at all.
No, because sometimes yes, people are lucky when they find that person who are in high school and they've been going. I've known people who literally Lexi and Thomas, they've been together for a year already.
Yeah.
And that is what we consider a long relationship in high school. If someone even reaches 2 years, that's wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
That's very impressive because high school, you go through so many changes, and sometimes it can be hard to go through changes but with another person, especially when communication is so important. And a lot of guys I've noticed don't know how to communicate well.
They really don't, because they're still maturing.
Yeah, and it's scientifically true that women mature more faster than men. Our brains stop developing faster than way earlier than men's, which is literally science. But so yeah, I just think that we have a little guest. We have a little guest here.
Hello.
I just think that it's important to know that when getting into high school, do not expect to get into a relationship or anything. And if you're a freshman, do not get into a relationship with a senior.
No.
That is definitely
people will look at you and they will judge.
They will. Because it's not just because oh yeah, this, that, whatever. First of all, they're about to be 18, so about to be full legal adult. They can vote, they can join the army, they can buy a house, and you just got out of middle school, which can be a really hard time for people, especially it's such a transitioning period for people. So you just went through that, but they went through that what feels like a long time ago, because I feel like middle school, although it was the end of it was during COVID, it feels like a long time ago.
Yeah, I agree. It was a long time. I feel yeah.
So honestly, I feel like the mentality is not in the same space. And if the senior feels like, oh yeah, they have to get like they have to be with a freshman or something, their mentality is not there. They're not okay. So you should not be with someone who is not okay. But yeah, like I just believe that like relationships, it's something that people should really think through. And I know that you've definitely like thought through like
Yes.
if you want a relationship or not.
Yeah, actually, it's been like a couple of weeks since I last spoke to the boy that I was potentially gonna get into a relationship with. Um, and I was very honest with him. I should have been honest like before and told him that I was not interested in a relationship, but I guess I just needed a little more time to think it through. And there was always like, it's stupid to say, but like I had like thoughts saying like, oh, maybe like I could try it. Like maybe like I could get into that relationship and like I would be happy. But honestly, like personally, I just don't think that's like who I am.
Yeah.
Like I think school especially is like a big factor in it. I just don't want to be distracted and like have my grades like drop because like I do know people who like have been in relationships and like didn't really like focus so much on the school and their grades did drop and I'm just like looking into the future, you know, because like obviously like there are cases where people like will marry their high school like sweethearts, but that's like so rare. So I'm looking into the future and like making sure that like school, like my grades are good, and I just decided that it wasn't right for me. So I talked to him.
I feel like it's just such a balance, and that's what people have to learn.
Yeah.
That it is a balance. You just can't go into a relationship without thinking about all the other factors going into it.
Mm-hmm.
And like being in a relationship, it should be an added bonus like to your life. It shouldn't be something that could considerably like put you down.
It shouldn't be a burden.
It shouldn't be a burden.
Yeah.
I do believe like relationships are hard work, and if you are not willing to put in the work, then it's just not worth it. It's not worth it to the other person. It's not worth it to you. Like it's good that you know what you want,
but a lot of people don't.
Exactly.
So
I mean, but it's like it was something that you had to learn though.
Yeah.
And that's for everybody. Everybody has to learn whether they're ready for something. They have to learn like if they believe that it is good for them, because sometimes a lot of relationships are just not good for them.
No, not at all. And it continues and drags and it just gets so much worse.
Yeah. So I honestly believe like if you're having troubles like with relationships, and this goes for literally for anything, to talk to another person and get their voices into it as well, because different perspectives really come to like get a solution, and that's like actually universal. Like when people are trying to figure out like I don't know, something like scientific, like you get like all these different perspectives into it and then you like find a solution. And
especially friends, your friends will help you a lot throughout high school. I know like when I was like going through this thing like a month 3 weeks ago, like pretty recent.
Yeah.
I went to like all my friends and they gave their like opinions on like what I should do, because I didn't know what to do and I needed other people's help. And they gave me some good advice, and I didn't take most of it, but like some of it was helpful.
Yeah, and I think it's just good for asking advice. Like you don't have to use it. Mm-hmm. You honestly don't. It's really advice is perspectives, and a person can give advice on the perspective of the other person. It could be the perspective of you, or it could be the perspective of the outside person looking at the situation from obviously the outside. So taking like different advice, like when we were like telling you what to do for your little situation, yes, you did take some of our advice, and honestly it worked out kind of.
Yeah, a little.
But it's good that you like went through that, because now for like the rest of at least like senior year, you know what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not a relationship. But yeah, a lot of people just don't realize how
time consuming.
how time consuming a relationship is. And like, yes, if it is your like first relationship, I'm giving like so much relationship stuff and I've never even been in one. But I've been in situations where it's like communication is actually so important.
It's key.
And it's just annoying when they don't communicate. It just really is, because you leave the other person hanging dry.
Yeah.
And wondering like what is happening?
What are they thinking?
Like, what is
are
happening?
they on the same page?
Exactly.
Like, all that.
And I feel like clearing the air, no matter how awkward it is, because I hate awkward confrontation, I just have to know.
Yeah.
I have to know.
Yeah.
And it's unfair to the other person. And it's also unfair to you. So, so people in like middle school thinking about like high school relationships, or like they don't know a lot about high school relationships, because middle school relationships are so different. Like,
they are so different. They are so very different.
Like, you were in like 2 relationships or 1.
I was in like a bunch. I'm not gonna lie, I was getting around then in middle school.
Yeah.
People would like say that about me, but like it was middle school. Like it was so stupid. But yeah, honestly, like a 7th grade relationship is a lot different than a high school relationship. Yeah. Like, because you're both immature. Like, you're not.
Yeah. You're not, like, you're both going through a growing stage. Yeah. But
it's an awkward time.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I mean, like, looking back on my middle school stuff, I would have never gotten a relationship at all. Like, looking now, I don't, like, I've never really thought of one, really. But yeah, I would definitely think that, like, middle school relationships are definitely way, like, different than high school relationships. But I do know people, who started dating in middle school and now they're still dating through high school, and I'm just like, wow,
how you do it?
I know.
Wow.
I'm just like, that must have been like a lot of work though.
Yeah.
Just like transitioning from like middle school to high school, because that transition period is hard enough already.
Yeah, like middle school, you don't get that much homework, the classes are pretty easy, but high school, like, you start taking AP classes, you start taking, like, dual enrollment classes, and it gets a lot more
because
difficult.
That's when I feel like school is very much a priority. I mean, in middle school, yes, school is a priority. You want to get good grades in middle school, so you can, like, advance more in high school and stuff like that. But it's not so much like the pressure that you feel in middle school that you feel in high school, because high school is like, okay, this is it. Like, all these years that I'm having here and all these grades, all these classes that I'm taking, the extracurriculars, everything like that, that is going to go on your transcript. That's going to go on your resume to your colleges, and your colleges set you up for what you're going to do for your life.
Yeah.
So you have a pressure that you don't have in middle school, and that can really be like applied into like relationships that you have throughout high school. I mean, like with friendships, like a lot of people like fall out of friendships, like for different reasons. Like, no, like sometimes people grow out, which is like totally fine.
Yeah, it's so normal.
It's so normal. It's very much normal after college. And like maybe people like have fights. Like some people literally like stop being friends over guys.
Oh yeah.
But which is
kind of stupid in my opinion, because like obviously like it's always fun to have a boy, like a boy that likes you, but like it should never get in the way of a friendship.
Yeah, because I don't think that it's worth it.
It's really not.
Because, like, relationships like that, I feel like they're more work than a friendship, I feel. Because, like, in a friendship, I feel like it's more, like, respectable, especially because you've been building up a friendship. And with a relationship, maybe you've been talking for, like, a month or something, but it's not exclusive. Like, you may not be building that same respect up that you have for a friend that you've been seeing for, like, every single day, or have been talking to every single day for, like, many years. And so if you just, like, drop that for a guy that you've been talking to for a month, you finally get into a relationship, and then that relationship ends, like, a month later, like, you have no guy anymore, and you have no friend to talk to
Right.
about the guy. So I think it should just really be resolved when it's between two guys. I mean, like, between a guy. I think it should just be resolved being like, just talking with that friend, being like, oh, it's okay if you can go and, like, date him or something like that. Like, be on a mutual page. If, like, okay, it's fine if you date him, like, whatever. Or
I've actually had a situation, like, no, I've had a situation where, like, I, like, contacted one of my friends and, like, asked them, like, if I could, like, keep seeing this boy. And, like, I FaceTimed her because, like, obviously I would see her in person, but, like, with high school, it's so difficult. So I called her and, like, I, like, was very honest with her and, like, very open. And she, like, actually, like, understood. But again, like, communication is very important. Like, if you're like really honest with your friends, like, I'm sure they're gonna understand and listen to you. And I also have a very important statement that I go by. I go by bros before hoes, and I stand by that because I think it's a very important statement that people hear. Yeah.
Did you mean hoes before bros?
No.
Bros before hoes. Oh, right, because we're bros.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Never mind. Anyways, but yeah, no, like, I remember that situation, and, like,
it was like earlier in the year, but it was like the summer. It was the summer.
It was the summer.
But I knew I had to, like, say something.
Yeah.
Because, like, either way, like, my friend's gonna find out. And, like, if she doesn't hear it from me, like, that's just not good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, another person should definitely not hear from, like, another person who, like, knows what's going on. Oh, yeah, like, have you heard about this? And they're like, what do you mean?
Yeah, and it's the first time they're hearing that, and obviously they're gonna freak out. So
yeah. And although, like, they may get mad of, like, for you at you for doing whatever it is, it's better to come from you than another person, because that is gonna make the situation worse.
Yes. And let me tell you, in high school, a lot of people, like, will get into your shit. And, like, they will, like, I'm not gonna lie, there are a lot of rumors, like, that go around throughout high school.
That is very true.
So you need to, like, be careful and, like, about, like, what you say, especially.
Yeah.
And, like, be very direct with, like, a person and not, like, talk about them, like, behind their back, and, like, because they're gonna want to hear the stuff from you, like, not from other people. So
yeah, like, it's just very important to just communicate. Honestly, that's, like, I feel like that's the big theme about this podcast right now. Like, communication is literally key. That's, like, the number one thing about any type of relationship. That's what I go by. Communication is key, because it really is. You don't want leaving anybody else in the dark, and the person definitely does not want to be left in the dark, having absolutely no clue what you're thinking, what you're talking about, because one person can say, like, one thing, oh, like, yeah, I had a great time, I think I'm gonna see him again, and then the other guy's like, no, I'm just, like, not seeing her ever again. So I just think communication is key. Like, make those lines crystal clear.
Be honest with them.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not working out, it's not working out. Just, you gotta tell the person.
Yeah,
like,
and it's honestly, it's what you're feeling. It's not anything that you can control. It's not like you're trying to make them feel bad. Or if you're on the receiving end, it's not like they are trying to make you feel bad. It's just the truth. If you get hurt by it, that's perfectly natural. But it's the truth, and you also have to learn with it. A lot of honesty can go by in your life, and some of that honesty may not be like your favorite thing to hear, but it's what you need to hear. Like, need is definitely different than want.
Yes. I've experienced a lot of that this year. But it's okay, because it's stuff that I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't want to. But.
Yeah, and what you need to hear, you learn from it. So,
yes, of course.
Everything in life is a learning experience. You live to learn.
That's very true.
It's so true. But yeah, I have to do some communication on my ends. Not really, but
I do. I personally do. But I'm working on it. I'm like learning and I'm working on it. So
yeah, because after the situation that happened in like October, I think it's like definitely something, a lesson that you like have learned and like are still learning.
Yeah.
But like it's difficult because these are also types of situations that you haven't really been in this type of situation where like, you know, like someone asks to be your girlfriend and then you just like.
I know. Also, like, it was just like when he did it, it was very like early, it was too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had only known him for like a month or two. And some people are like, a month or two, like that's perfect to get into a relationship. But honestly, like, everyone's different.
Yeah.
Like, it takes me like a good amount of time to like really get to know someone and like truly like someone. But yeah, like
yeah, everybody's different with their paces. Like what their criteria is, like the time criteria to get to know someone, because like we've said, relationships are hard work. You have to know what you're getting into. Like you have to know that person like kind of pretty well before getting into a relationship. Be like, I believe that this relationship is worth it. And it's like I said, it's across the board, like whether you're getting into a relationship, like you have to know if it's worth it or not.
Yeah.
Because there's just like a lot of work. Just like if you're signing up for a class, like
you have to know what you're getting into.
You have to know what you're getting into. Like you search up the teachers, you search up
the
like,
workload,
the
like everything.
So then you like know what you're getting into. Like last year, I did not know what I was getting into with some of my teachers. Like, they ended up being fine for me at the end because, personally, for me, I think, like, my teachers like me sometimes. But, like, in the beginning, you know, you don't know these teachers.
Mm-mm.
And then you have to work with them for the entire school year. And then sometimes it's hard. And then you don't want to do their work. And then you have to have conversations with them about you not doing their work. And that's because you're mad at them. But honestly, a teacher-student relationship, kind of like that, is kind of like a relationship. You don't do the work, you get yelled at for it, and then you have a fight.
Yeah, and it's just not good. It's tense after.
Yeah, and then you have to resolve that.
Work through it.
And if it's not resolved, that means that one or both people who are in the fight just don't feel like it's worth it, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you don't resolve it, that means you feel like it's not something you want to resolve and just want to break off. So
that's what happened with me.
Yeah. But at least, like, you know what you want. I feel like you've sort of kind of always knew what you wanted, but, like, with him, I think it was something that you wanted to try.
Yeah, I definitely did want to try it. And then, like, other thoughts came into my head, and I just, like, I liked how I was, like, going throughout life, like just being by myself, you
Yeah.
know? I don't know.
Also, when you're in like relationships, as we said, communication is key. But this is also bringing you back to like a little something where communication is key. Make sure that if you're with someone, you kind of like set the line if you're exclusive or not.
Yes. Yeah.
This is also very important because you don't want to be going back and forth with a girl that you're not exactly friends with, but like the guy is like going back and forth with you and then this girl. Because Ellie kind of had that happen a little bit.
Oh, yes. Oh my God. Yes. No. Do not get into a little love triangle.
Yeah, because that is stressful.
It's stressful. Obviously, like it wasn't planned, but I definitely like learned stuff from that. If like a boy is like not treating you well like at all and going back and forth to like the other girl that like you like knew about, like just don't go back to him. Like
Yeah.
move on. You'll find other people. Like yes, he may be like very special in that moment and like yes, you may have been like best friends and it turned into something. But it's not worth it. Like it's not worth like getting your feelings hurt. Cause I know like I was pretty like devastated after that. And I'm not gonna lie, like it kind of traumatized me after that. And that's why like personally, like I'm so scared to get into another relationship. That's actually one of the reasons that I told the last boy. Cause it's true. I'm nervous of getting hurt because it's so much. You have to put in so much. Like your feelings are all in it and like it's so tiring.
Yeah, like people with a relationship, that's the risk that they have to give out because you know, like getting in relationships a bit risky if you're afraid of those kind of things, like getting your feelings like really hurt after being with someone who like knows you, you know. But yeah, like being an outsider from that little situation, that was definitely like a lot.
Well, you were also like involved on like both sides.
I was
you were in the middle.
I was actually yeah, I know. I was literally in the middle of everything.
Because like you were friends with her and you were also friends with me, and it was very difficult.
But I was also friends with him.
Oh yeah, and friends with him, of course. But a lot of people like were friends with him.
Yeah.
And it was I would definitely say it was also like I was very like upset also like with that like because like some friends would like talk to like him or like her after and like I guess like I was personally upset because they didn't really truly like understood like what he like did to me because they weren't in my situation. But you know like I'm fine now. Like I moved past it. It took a little bit of time, but you know, and I'm not saying that like all like relationships are bad. Like I know people who are in like such great relationships for a lot of years, like we were saying earlier. But like it's obviously not for everyone, and I wouldn't like don't go into high school like making a priority to get a boyfriend.
Yeah,
because that's not gonna do you good. And it's gonna be draining on your like mental health especially.
Yeah.
Because I know like some of my friends sometimes they set like goals to be like, okay, I'm gonna go out tonight, I'm gonna find a boy I really like, I'm gonna talk to him, get his snap, and like hopefully like start dating him. But like and then that doesn't happen and they're disappointed. Just like don't like go into high school thinking that at all.
Yeah. Like
have fun.
Yeah.
Like
make sure that if school is actually really a priority for you and you want to get into a good college and you feel like you like getting good grades and stuff like that, make that school your priority, make your mental health a priority before you get it into like thinking about a relationship. And then you can think about like, oh, maybe I'm ready to have a relationship. Then you can go out, meet guys, whatever. And then maybe hopefully you do get into a relationship. You might love the relationship, you might not. And it's okay because it's a life experience. But no one should really go into high school thinking, okay, this is the time where I should get into relationships, yada, yada. Like, not everybody gets into relationships.
Mm-mm.
I have never gotten into a relationship. Ellie hasn't really gotten
Technically,
into
no, yeah.
Technically, you have not gotten into a
Yeah.
relationship.
And that's so normal.
Yeah,
That's so normal.
it is honestly very normal. I mean, sometimes, like, when I'm seeing on, like, social media, like, other people, like, being with other people, like, on, like, freaking, what was it, like, girlfriend's day or boyfriend's day, I swear everybody was coming left and right with relationships. I was like, what is actually happening here?
I know. I was, like, looking, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that person was in a relationship.
I know.
Like, I was so surprised. But it's not everyone.
It's not everyone.
I mean, it may seem like that on social media, but, you know, social media is, like, a whole different thing.
Exactly. Like, it was like, wow, like, I didn't know these people were dating these people. And it's mainly because I don't really know these people well enough. They're not your friends, like, closest friends. So these are just, like, a bunch of people around the world. Around the world, there's so many relationships. Around the world, there's so many single people. So, I mean,
yes.
Like, definitely don't take it from social media. Be like, oh, I feel like I need, like, a relationship right now. Like, I'm seeing these people in a relationship. I feel like I need to get on one. Like, don't have that mentality, because if you don't have that mentality, you're not really ready for a relationship. You're just, like, wanting it.
You're wanting it, but you're not really knowing what you're you want to get into.
You're not really thinking it through.
I also see, like, all those TikToks with, like, the cute, like, Christmas relationship-y things.
Yeah.
And personally, I look at that and I'm just, like, kind of disgusted by it, because obviously that's just not my thing. But, like, some people definitely do look at that and are like, oh, I want that. But, like,
honestly, you have friends. You can do it with your friends. Yeah. Do it with your friends. Have, like, little boo baskets or whatever, the bear baskets, and send it off to your friends.
Have a little Friendsgiving.
Exactly.
Like, Thanksgiving is coming up. Like, just do that with your friends.
Exactly. And, like, a lot of people, like, not dump their friends, but, like, go, like, part away from their friends a little bit once they get into relationships. Oh, yeah. And I just think that's because they don't know how to balance it all. But, if you're getting into a relationship, also think about that factor, about balancing relationships with your friends and with your boyfriend, because you obviously want to hang out with your friends, you want to hang out with your boyfriend, but
you don't need to be spending time, like, all the time with your boyfriend.
Yeah,
like,
because you don't spend all your time with your friends, and your friends are the ones that know you the most.
Yes, exactly.
So
yeah,
that's also, like, some other takeaways from, like, relationships. And of course, on the podcast, I'm going to actually have someone who's in a relationship to get their perspective on, like, how they are, like, in a relationship in that, because as we've said, me and Ellie have never actually really been in relationships. We've been in situations where...
a lot of situations.
Mostly on Ellie's end. But, where it's just, like, not really worked out. But that's also okay. You're in high school, you're learning, you're so young, you literally have your entire life ahead of you. You're good.
Yeah, you're fine.
You're good.
Focus on school, get those grades up, and get into, like, your dream college. I mean, that's easier said than done. Yeah. But just work hard. Like, boys are not, like, your priority. Like, they don't need to be. They're so little. Like, such little things in your life. So.
Yeah. So, for all the middle schoolers who are going into high school, and all the high schoolers that are, like, still being like, oh, I feel like I should get into a relationship, listen to us, please. Because since we're seniors now, and we've gone through, like, high school, we've gone through, like, so many different, like, situations. We know. We're very, I feel like, somewhat knowledgeable. And since I'm obviously bringing a lot of other people to get their perspectives on it, that's why, like, my podcast is important, because you get so many different perspectives from everybody, and, like, what they think of, what they think of high school, what they think of certain relationships, peer pressures, everything like that. So you guys, everybody can relate to, can get some advice out of this. This podcast is good for you. So,
and I hope I'm helpful. Yeah. I hope all my, like, horrible stories of guys helped you. But
yeah. So, again, like we said earlier, you don't have to take all of our advice. You could take some of it. You don't have to take all of it, but I just think it's important that you learn from like whatever we went through and what we've talked about, and just like take that into perspective, take those like advices, like think through it if you're thinking of getting into a relationship or you're in a relationship but don't think that is totally worth it. Just like listen to us, talk to your friends, listen to them.
Live life and have fun.
Yes.
That's very important. I stand by that.
Yes, it's so true. Have fun in high school. And sometimes guys don't have to be a part of that. So yeah, I think that will be the end of our podcast.
Yay.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Again, my Instagram handle is the high school dish, and I also have a TikTok called the high school dish. I haven't posted anything on it yet, but I will soon. I will talk to you guys next week. All right.